What's up, everyone? It's Blue here at Bluebears Games, and for the third week in a row, I will be giving you a Blues Budget Battle Brew deck, which is my 60-card budget decks that I make and sell on the Facebook Marketplace and at conventions when I go to them. And they're actually just for fun. They're not really formatted for anything. They're just to help you learn to play. They're to, when somebody's looking for a deck, it's a nice, cheap little $20 deck that you can get to learn how to play the game or to play with your friends. So this week's deck actually is at one that came about because I had an order for a deck that fell through, and I liked the idea of the deck, but it was a little different. They wanted to spend a little more money than I normally do. They wanted to do, I think it was $40 or $50 for the deck. So I turned it into a budget deck and changed it up a little bit to fit the budget. So this is going to be an interesting build. So the idea of this deck, it's called Knowledge is Power. It uses card draw to beef up your creatures to make them pretty big so that you can just attack in while also having backup with cards in your hand. So let me just go over the deck real fast. All right, so we start off with a Fairy Vandal. It's a 2 to cast, 1/2 flash flying. Flash means it can be cast at any time that you can play an instant. Flying, obviously, we know what that is. And then whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Fairy Vandal. And that's the basic gist of what we're going to see in the creatures. Drawing cards, you put +1/+1 counters on the creatures. So this is the first one. The next one up, because it's budget, was Jesse and Thief. This one helps perpetuate the theory of the deck, not actually is the theory. So it's a 3 to cast, 1/3, has prowess. So with that being counters, at least it gets bigger. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So that's where it helps to aid the deck. It's the ability to draw a card off of it dealing combat damage. Now, the prowess is a nice little bonus because you will be casting spells to draw cards in this deck, so it still fits the theme. It's just not exactly 100% of the theme. So I got 4 of them in there, so you can have a lot of things that can grow bigger and draw you cards. The deck actually came about because Lorescale Coatl was what the guy wanted to build around. This was the only card he gave me, and then, after I built the deck, he ghosted me, which literally not even like 2 days before he said he wouldn't do that, so whatever. It is a 1 blue, 1 green, 1 of any, 2/2. Please keep in mind this is the only card that will have green in the deck. This is a blue-green deck, but only for the purposes of this card. It says whenever you draw a card, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. That was the whole basic premise of the deck that he wanted. I made it a little bit cheaper than he wanted, and now I offer it to you. So 4 of them, that's the main theme of the deck. Onerophage. It's a 4 to cast version of Lorescale Coatl, and it has flying. It's a 4 to cast, 1/2 flyer that whenever you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I got 4 of them babies in there. So there weren't a lot of creatures that actually said when you draw a card, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So I had a way to get around that by making it, I don't know, I'll read the card to you. Aeon Chronicler is one of the first ones. So it's a 5 to cast star, and this is how I got around that. When Aeon Chronicler's power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. So fits the theme of drawing cards. So instead of getting a +1/+1 counter, he just gets bumped up by 1 for each card in your hand. So, and everything in here will hopefully replenish your hand. Again, his power and toughness are equal to the number of counters in your hand. He has suspend. So for 1 blue, 3 of any, and X, where X can't be 0, you can suspend him. So if you pay, say, 5, which is his normal casting cost, he has 1 counter on him. Whenever a time counter is removed from Aeon Chronicler, whenever a time counter is removed from Aeon Chronicler while it's exiled, which means still actually suspended, you draw a card. So you could actually, in late game, you could do it for 10, and then you have 6 time counters on him, and every time you remove a counter, you'll draw a card. So the whole point of this card, though, is because there aren't a lot of cards that also get +1/+1 counters when you draw a card, I had to find a way around that, and this was the way I did it. His actual power and toughness is equal to the number of cards in your hand instead. It's not as good, not as powerful, but it was a workaround. Body of Knowledge, same thing. Power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. He gives you no maximum hand size, and then when it is dealt damage at all, draw that many cards. So if he's blocked, if somebody tries to bolt him, whatever the case may be, you draw the cards equal to the damage dealt to him. So again, it was a workaround. Timorith, Desert Doom is a 5 to cast, 5/5 flyer, so that's good stats right there. He has Ward 4 as long as it's untapped, so that anytime somebody targets him, they must pay an additional 4, or else the spell gets countered. And when he deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. Then, if you have fewer than 3 cards in your hand for some reason, you draw cards equal to the difference. So if for some reason you get Mind Twisted and your whole hand goes away, but you have Timorith out, is it Limmerith? It's Limmerith, not Timorith, sorry. If he deals combat damage to somebody, since you have no cards in hand, you draw a card, but the difference between that 1 and 3 is 2, so you would draw 2 more. If you need more explanation, just ask. I'll do it. Sturmgeist. So, again, a star, where his power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. of another flyer, and then whenever he deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Do you see the theme here? I tried to make as much stuff be able to make you draw, help you draw cards when they deal damage, and then other things benefit from them to make them bigger, and then you just attack in. So then we got spells. We're going to actually just use draw spells. Reach Through Mists, it's a cantrip, but a lot of things benefit from you doing a cantrip. Got 4 of them in there. Frantic Inventory, it's a 2 to cast instant. It's kind of like Accumulated Knowledge where you draw a card. Then you draw cards equal to the number of cards named Frantic Inventory in your graveyard. So first time you cast it, you draw 1. Second time you cast it, you draw 2. Third time you cast it, you draw 3. And the fourth time you cast it, you draw 4. So that's why I have a playset in there of these in there. Dream Cache, it's actually a pretty cool one. So this is where this gets kind of fun. 3 to cast, you draw 3 cards. Stop. You just stop right there. Everything that benefits from you drawing cards to get +1/+1 counters gets all 3. Okay? Then you choose 2 cards from your hand and put both either on top or bottom of your library. That's a small little caveat to this, is that you have to get rid of 2. But you get to at least put them, you don't have to put them in your graveyard, you can put them in your library. Got 4 of them. Some control aspects, I like to put them in my beginner decks just because people need to learn that you can control the board a little bit no matter what color you're in. Claustrophobia, I was just mentioning this, I think, in the Mono Black Devotion video last week. So it's 3 to cast, it enchants a creature. You tap that creature when it attaches to the creature, and then it doesn't untap during its controller's untap step. That's to help so that you can lock down your opponent's creatures so that you can attack in and deal damage. Got to play a set of those, and the same thing with Charmed Sleep. They're the same card, just different sets. And so, with the lands, this is a mono blue deck with a splash of green, I guess you could say. So I put 4 Thornwood Falls in there, because you should have at least, when you're doing a splash, you should have at least one thing that produces the color of the splash color for each card you have. That's my theory. I don't know how many people follow that, but that's what I do. So I got 4 of them in there. And then 16 islands. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I forgot to change this. So it'll be 16 islands. I'm going to take the forest out, and I don't know. Oh, the original deck build was a little more green. So I'm going to take these out. It'll be 16 islands and 4 Thornwood Falls. Sorry about that. I thought I had done that already. Anyway, that is what the deck is. It's kind of a fun deck. It's a neat little idea. It wasn't actually originally my own idea. It was somebody asked me to build a deck around Lorescale Coatl, and then I ran with it, and then I guess it's my deck after that. So now what we'll do is we'll give you a couple of little upgrade suggestions that you can do to make this deck really nice. So let's get started on that. Okay, so first let's take a look at a creature that I feel you could swap in to make this deck a little nastier. I would say take out the 4 Jessian Thieves and put in 4 Chasm Skulkers. The Skulker follows the theme of gaining counters when you draw cards and has an added bonus of leaving behind creatures when it has the unfortunate instance of dying. There are other creatures that get +1/+1 counters when you draw a card, but they are 3 or more mana to cast, and unfortunately the 3 and 4 mana slots are already filled, so I'll leave it at that. One simple suggestion. As far as the non-creature upgrades, we can definitely upgrade the draw spells. I would swap out the 4 Reach Through Mists and replace them with 4 Brainstorms. Both are 1 mana to cast, but just like I said with the Dream Cache, Brainstorm lets you draw 3 cards, and each card drawn will make your creatures bigger by that much, since it's not per instance, it's per card drawn for them. Likewise, I would take out the 4 Dream Caches and replace them with 4 Accumulated Knowledges. Yes, it is less cards drawn in total, but the Accumulated Knowledges are cheaper to cast, and you get to keep all the cards. You don't have to put any back. As far as lands go, the only change I can see making that would have an actual impact would be to take out the 4 Thornwood Falls and replace them with a dual land of some sort, things like Tropical Island, a Breeding Pool, or a Hinterland Harbor. All of these have the ability to enter play untapped, which can be important. Whether or not you want or even need this will depend on you and the people you play with. This deck is supposed to be more for fun and learning than it is anything else, but I know how competitive people can get, so this is entirely up to your needs or wants. And there you have it, folks, my newest Blues Budget Battle Brew, Power is Knowledge. As I said earlier, this was kind of a customer request that fell through, and I felt it was a good enough idea to convert into one of my Budget Battle Brew offerings. Just like the previous 2 weeks worth of decks, this will be available at the South Jersey Geek Fest in Woodbury, New Jersey, and if you're in the area, I highly recommend going. It's a small event, but it's usually a good time. If for some reason I still have this deck after the convention, like all the other Battle Brew decks, it will be available on the Bluebears Games Facebook page or on the Facebook Marketplace. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week for another Bluebears Games original deck build video. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or concerns, or you just want to talk or chat about any of the videos I put out, you can do so using any of the methods I have displayed here. Additionally, if you would like to support the channel, you can do so in 3 ways. Donations are accepted and greatly appreciated. I have 3 methods with which you can do so displayed on the screen, and keep in mind that no amount is too small. If donations aren't your thing, and you would like to get something for your money, that's great too. I sell a lot of the decks I present on the channel, as well as mystery packs. So if you're interested in any of these, you can contact me using the information I have up on your screen right now. Directly contacting me is usually the best and cheapest way to do so, but you can always look at what I currently have available on the Facebook Marketplace. And lastly, if you want to show your love and support for the channel, but like myself, are a little strapped for cash, it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet, watch some videos and give them a like, and possibly share them out on your social medias you use to help spread my content to more people. No matter what way you choose is greatly appreciated and will help support the channel, and I thank you for it. Sadly, that is all the time I have for this video. Thank you for watching, and please, stick around and watch some of the many great videos I've posted over the last few years, and remember to check back again for new content I'll be posting every week. Have a great day.